is Lærke, and this is a knitting podcast. I am a knitwear designer mostly, and I like to talk about knitting and designing, and right now I have some yarn out, so I also talk about that. I am coming to you from the southern part of Fyn in Denmark, where I live with my partner and our 2 children. And yeah, life has been really busy since I podcasted last time because I've decided to go full time with Fiber Tales after I finished my maternity leave. So I'm almost full time. I'm also doing a bit of teaching on the side. I teach Spanish, so I'm doing that in the evenings, which is a little bit rough, mainly because my boy is just a bit over a year old and he has a really bad sleeping period at the moment. I think he's teething again, so it's been a little rough. I'm quite tired. I also probably look a bit tired today, but I really wanted to podcast. It's Friday and it's my last day of the week where I can get a podcast out before the weekend, and I have a lot to talk about. So I have some new designs. As I said, I will talk about what I've been up to with the yarn, and I can hear some sounds in the forest. They are cutting the trees, so it sounded like someone talking outside. It's very quiet here because I live just in the neck of the woods and there are no one coming by. It's down a dirt road, so it's really quiet. I can just hear the birds chirping outside and I can hear somebody cutting wood with a chainsaw. So yeah. As I was saying, it's been really busy, and mainly because I have added to my regular list of designing and grading patterns and writing patterns and so on, and knitting them. I also have released some Gotland yarn, and I don't know why I didn't bring it here. Let me get some yarn. Since the last time we spoke, I think. I can't remember. I think I recorded before I released the yarn. I released these 3 colors of Gotland yarn, which is based on the colors of my parents' sheep. So all this yarn comes from the same flock of sheep and from last year's shearings. And I managed to get 3 shades of grey, so the charcoal, the dark grey and the medium, out from this batch of wool. And I've been selling that on Etsy, so I will put a link to the shop below. And it has been so much fun, but also a bit not stressful. I mean, it's stressful when I put the updates because I'm always nervous. How will people react? Will it sell? The first update was crazy, and it sold out in, I think, 10 minutes. And that's even if I put more yarn than the last time. I did this also last year. So it was really crazy. It sold out very quickly, and I know some people feel a little discouraged when it's so quick because they try to order and then it's gone. But I can say that for the second update I did 2 weeks later, it was much more quiet, and in the beginning things sold out really quickly, but then there was still some skeins left of each color until a couple of hours later. So I hope for the 3rd update, which will be a little bit smaller, but still I tried to do 3 portions at the same amount. It should be possible to get your hands on some yarn if you have been wanting to, because I know people write me that they didn't manage, and I think it's a bit more calm, gonna be a bit more calm next time. So it's been, I do everything very slowly and very intentionally and in a maybe not the quickest way. I did do something different from the last time, because the last time I was writing all the labels by hand, and I'm happy I decided not to do that this time because I've doubled the amount of yarn. And I just got printed some stickers that I put on the labels, but I still cut the label by hand. I stamp it by hand, and my stamp is not very good for my hand, so I try not to stamp too many at the time. I pack it all, I wrap it all up and pack it and write the address by hand, which of course I know I could print it, but I don't have a printer, and I kind of like writing the addresses because it makes me think where the packages are going, and I think it's a lot of fun. And there's some really fun addresses, yeah, out in the world. Like, I don't know. I just think I like languages. I like words. I get a little bit geeky about that. And then the next thing is I have to take it to my local post office, because I could wait and we could ship it like in the weekend from a bigger post office, but then we would have to go each weekend with the car, and we kind of want to do other things in the weekend. So I just bring it with me every day when I go to the town. There's a small post office in the shop, but the problem is, there are two problems. I can only fit so many packages in my bike. By the way, if you want to see all this process, go watch my my February vlog that I just put up on YouTube last week, because I show pretty much the whole process and also the sheep a bit and so on. So I have to pack it I have a cargo bike, and there has to be enough space for my little guy, because I pick him up on the way, and then I have to drop it off at the little post office shop, and they only have one sack, and I kind of fill it up every time. And one time I had more packages, and I just had to leave them on the floor, and I said, I don't want you to leave them on the floor. So they found another sack, and they left it behind the counter, and I was not sure. I mean, I felt a little unhappy, because I was afraid, what if they forget that sack or something? I don't think so. I know that people got the packages that I left that day, but it's just, I don't want to overflow the shop with packages, because it's just really small. So I just bring like a handful of packages each day. That's also why, in case you purchased yarn and you're wondering why it's taking, like, I put a 1 to 2 weeks time for shipping before I ship, so, and then you have to put shipping on top. It's just because I'm doing it this way, so I know I will do the next update once I'm done shipping these, and it will be in 1 or 2 weeks time from now. And I really want to enjoy it. I know, of course, I also have to be practical about it, but I want to enjoy it. I don't want to stress too much about the packages, so I hope you can understand. I will say, just a little warning, this will probably be the last update with this specific yarn. This is a 2-ply DK weight, and it's let's say around 80% organic Gotland yarn and 20% Falkland Merino. So I'm planning to do something a little bit different for the next update, but not this one, but for the next batch of yarn. Next time I make yarn, I would like to do things a little different. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. That's still being figured out at the moment. But that just means that if you want this particular yarn, it might be the last time I do this yarn, or at least the last time for this year. Because as you will see if you go watch the vlog, there are not many sheep in the flock, and it's just, there's only so much yarn that can come out of the sheep. So that's just how it works. I kind of enjoy it, and I think I actually like it this way, because if I did much bigger amounts, I would just be a yarn shop. I mean, I like to have time to design on the side, and right now I actually feel a little bit pressed. The designing, I don't have as much time as I would like for designing and all these things. So yeah, things have been busy with that. And yeah, I released the pattern, which you probably have seen. I released the Loppe socks. Now these have been worn a bit, so you can already see a little bit of felting on the heel. The pattern is called Loppe socks. Let me just show you where there's no, yeah, it looks a little bit better here where it's not where you join in the round. Yeah, it's called Loppe socks because it has these little dots that can either be called, yeah? Sometimes it just sounds weird when I'm talking to myself. This pattern is used very much in Scandinavian knitting. I also see it a lot in like Latvian mittens, and it's just like a 1-stitch colorwork pattern, which depending on which way it goes, it's called loose or lopper, at least in Danish and Norwegian, and it means lice or fleece, and this one is the flea version because of how it's done. Actually, it's a double it's a double Loppe stitch, so it gives a little more dimension to the pattern. And let me just show you all of it. There's this lateral braid, which is very easy to do, and it's actually very flexible, so you don't have to be nervous. Okay, I'm trying to hold just a second. It's very flexible, so you don't have to be worried about it like being tight on the cuff. And I wrote the pattern so you start with the number of stitches you would normally knit a pair of socks on, and then I've designed the pattern so there's an increase to accommodate for the color work. So that way you should be able to kind of start with your regular number of stitches, yeah, I hope that way it will be easier to pick the right size, and also because the cuff didn't need to be bigger than what you regularly do. And then for the color work, because normally socks have a negative ease, and colorwork socks should not have negative ease, because what happens if you have negative ease on the colorwork, it will look like this, which is not very pretty. You want the colorwork just to sit flat. So you have to be careful when picking the size. I recommend measuring your foot, just so you're sure you get the right, amount of ease. It should be 0 ease or positive ease. If you want them a bit more like house socks, you could just have a bit of positive ease. And yeah, it's just simple. It has a little detail up here for a little border, and then it's just the Loppe pattern going all the way down. I did an Eye of Partridge heel, which I think is very nice. And you could, of course, you could just do, if you like, a short row heel. That would be very easy to do, and actually makes the pattern a lot easier, because I had to make charts for all the sizes to get the gussets, the stitch to merge together. So there are charts showing the gusset for all sizes, just so you don't have to, if you find it difficult to kind of match the pattern. And then they just have a rounded toe, so simple rounded toe. The yarn was sent to me by Sweet Julie of Sweetsbury Yarns some time ago, because I was on maternity leave and things have been a bit slow, and it's a very beautiful yarn. It's hand dyed. Let me get I have the ball left here of the pink color, which is called Cameo, so I have quite a lot of that left, and this is the contrast color I use the most, so for heels and toes. I use the espresso colorway for the dark contrast color, and then the white is called marshmallow. And this is a non-superwash yarn, which I really like. The only thing is I was so excited when I saw the yarn that I didn't really notice that this is also it doesn't have any nylon content, and it's a very soft merino. So also it's a merino, I think it's a merino, but of course for socks it's not very durable, so they make really nice house socks, but I wouldn't wear them too much outside, I think, with this yarn. It's a beautiful yarn for shawls and garments and so on, but maybe for socks I would choose something that's a bit more durable. But that said, if you like to wear socks at home and you don't wear them much, and if you're just sitting around, then it's a really nice yarn. What else to say? You can kind of knit this up in many colors. I think you can manage for the smaller sizes with 2 mini skeins, like 20-gram mini skeins. If you're knitting one of the larger sizes, or you might need a little bit more than a mini skein for the heel, the pink color, because it's used quite all over the sock. Let me just show you the inside of the sock, because it's very pretty. I knit these on 2.5 millimeter circular needles from Jagoda. Can be any brand, but it just really helps that they are circular needles, like fixed. Maybe you can do this with the little interchangeable ones, but I prefer the fixed ones. But if you look at this, my color work is just so smooth on the inside, because when you're knitting in the round and on those tiny circular needles, it kind of keeps an even tension, or like the stitches are spread out evenly around the cable. So I find that really helps, and I recommend that for colorwork socks. It really helps to get a nice colorwork, get a nice smooth colorwork, as you can see here. It's very smooth, not puckering at all. And I actually knit these up. I showed that on another episode, but I knit them up with another yarn on double pointed needles, and where you kind of have to change, not double pointed needles, magic loop. So when you change from one needle to the other, I kind of kept tensioning wrong, which I normally don't have a problem with, but because of the color work, you have to carry the floats, but then, yeah, I couldn't get the tension nice when I was changing needles, so I would highly recommend using circular, small 9-inch circular sock needles. If you're not used to them, it does take a little bit of getting used to. I talked about them a lot, but I really think once you're used to them, they're really good to use for this kind of thing. My other pattern has actually just been released today, so it's a new release. I've shown it before. It's this shawl, which it's hard to show it's actually really hard to photograph with this yarn, and I've done that before, picking yarns that are beautiful but not the easiest to photograph. Let me see if I can kind of, okay. I hope you can see something. It's a very long crescent-shaped shawl. Let me put it on. I have to watch out for my tea. Today I'm drinking some apple cranberry tea. And it's getting cold. But so I like to wear this shawl. You can wrap it around once or even 3 times. And then if I pull out this bit, you have the border, which has cables and bubbles. Let me see if I can get it to show something. Oh, it's really hard. It's really hard. The border with the cables and bubbles will kind of be sitting on the outside, because I thought about when you have shawls, the problem is you can have a lot of texture, but once you wear them, you don't really see the texture. So for this one, I actually did most the shawl with a simple Yagoda stitch, which is very easy to do. And then, okay, I'm gonna try one more time and see if I can get some kind of. So you kind of have these cables that are making this pattern where they meet in here, and there are 3 little bubbles inside of the little loop, and then that continues all around. So the idea was that when you make a simple pattern like this Yagoda stitch for most of the shawl, that bit anyway you wouldn't see when you're wearing it, at least not the way I wear shawls normally. And then you have this border in front, which lets you see the details a little bit better, but without having to make details all over the shawl. And it is a very nice shawl because it has linen in the yarn. Let me see if I can show you. So if you see here, you can see all those white kind of hairs in the yarn are linen fibers, and it makes it a little cooler. I think it's a 20% linen. I don't have the ball band with me anymore. But you can go check the yarn out, because this is yarn by Yama Fiber Arts. It was a hand dyer from South Africa, Madeline, and this is her Merino linen worsted. In some order, I always mess them up. And the colorway for this one is called Raisin. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I was on a quest for the perfect aubergine yarn, and actually when I saw her yarn, you can see the pattern and the color very well. When I saw her yarn, this colorway, I was like, that's the perfect aubergine color, because it's purple, but it has this brown, blackish undertones, which just this beautiful color of the aubergine. And yeah, I was just looking for this for a long time, and finally I saw it, and she sent me some skeins for this collaboration, and I just loved working with it. The only thing, and we talked about that a lot, is that it's superwash, and I normally don't like working with superwash because I don't really like idea of coating yarn with plastic, but I know that it's used a lot for hand dyers because it's easy to dye on, as it takes the dye easier, and also because she told me that they don't have the option to she can't get any yarn that is not superwash where she lives. Only the big mills will only sell superwash for dyeing, so she's a bit forced to use the superwash, but I think it's a very nice yarn and it will be perfect. I haven't used it in the winter because it's actually not so warm because of the linen, and the superwash has this smooth, little bit cool feeling. It will be perfect for spring and to wear in the summer, because it's nice and cozy but not too stuffy. So yeah, I can't show you too much, but there are pictures up on Ravelry because it went live today. I named the shawl Yagoda, which means blueberries. And actually some people wrote me that it means berries in Russian, and then I talked to my partner, he's Polish, that's why I picked the name. I talked to my partner and he says it also means berries in Polish, which I find a little bit baffling. How can it mean both blueberries and berries? And I asked him, how do you know which one? And he's like, this is just the context. So if you can see here, this is the little berries and the color. Sometimes, you know, when you have wild blueberries, they have this purpley tone, this like they are, they have some, how you call that, dew on top, and then if you rub it, you get into this purple, very deep purple, which kind of reminds me of that, so I named it the Yagoda shawl, and you can find that on Ravelry, as I said. It will be all the links for everything, if I remember, will be down below. I always say this, and I always get questions about things that I wrote down below, but please go check it out down in the description. And if I forget something, of course, just ask me. But yeah, it's it's an easy shawl to make because you have all this Garda, and it's worked from a Garda tab the same way as I did my Skullbear shawl, which I have a free pattern video. It's just a video, but you can see how to do this. And until you get to the border, which is around here, I have to turn it so the light kind of hits it, and then you see you do these cables only for the last bit. It used up 4 skeins, so it's quite a big, like less than 4 skeins. I have actually the last bit up here on the shelf. So it uses up some yarn. And I know Madeline will have a shop update if you're interested in the yarn on the 12th of February, I think. And she will have this base, so you need to get 4 skeins if you want to make it with her yarn. You could make it with a nice, it's worsted weight, yeah, I said that. And you could make it, I think it would be really nice to make with some woolen yarn as well, like for winter. You can always see my testers, what they knit theirs in. I think it would be lovely in a Snelldon. Like, I have my first shawl that I always wear outside. It's knit in the 3-ply Snelldon yarn, which is a worsted, and I think I could really see this knit up in a Snelldon. That would be lovely for winter. So that was the Yagoda shawl. It has been anything else that happened. As I said, as I was saying, it's been really busy. I just spent a lot of time this last weeks. I haven't knit much. I have a few works in progress and some I can't show you, but it's just been so busy this last weeks because I'm trying to figure out how to do everything with the business. I mean, I did these things before too with Fiber Tales, but I had to kind of register for VAT and fun stuff like that, and it just is a lot of figuring out how things work, and I don't feel like I can afford an accountant right now. They're really expensive in Denmark, so I'm trying to see if I can figure out things on my own. Maybe I will have to get one eventually, but I'm just trying to do everything on my own, but that just eats up a lot of my time, so I can't really, there's not much I can do. Days seem like they're flying by, and I'm trying to do everything, and I also want to record, and I want to make my monthly vlogs. I managed to get the one out for February a few days after the month finished. If you haven't watched that one, please go give it a look, because I put a lot of time and effort into making these videos. They are very time consuming. It's funny because it's like a very short little video once I'm done, but recording all the clips and putting them together, picking the music, adding the music, fitting things, changing things, I mean, it just takes a long time. And I really enjoy making them, but I also have to be kind of realistic if I can keep making them, because it depends if it's worth the time, I guess. I have to be a little bit practical about my time right now. But I think I will keep making them for some months to come, at least, as long as I'm having fun with them. And then I will see how it goes, if you seem to like them, so that's a good thing. And I'm also working on the video that I talked about finding your style. And I'm working on it as an idea right now. I haven't recorded anything, but I have getting my thoughts together for that one. I want to say something because people were commenting on this I asked you last time, and for some reason all the comments on my last videos are gone. I mean, it's not because of the settings, because there are a few comments now that people commented since then, but for some reason they're just all gone when I look at them. So I don't know if one of the kids took my phone, because they sometimes play on my phone, and they kind of deleted them by mistake, but I don't think that should happen, or there's some reason YouTube decided to delete all my comments. If you have any idea, you can let me know, because I'm a little bit sad. I like to read your comments and answer them, and it's just there are 4 comments on the last video because of that. I don't know what happened. I am working on a few whips, nothing too exciting. I am also working on some designs, but again, I won't show today. I'm working on this hat, which is an Oslo hat. I actually think I'm just about the time I have to measure when I have to do you kind of fold it up, and then you change, you knit inside out instead, because you want that triple brim, which is very nice and warm. This yarn is a chocolate brown with some rusty specks. Rusty specks only. It has some orange undertones, which you can see quite well when I have it up in the light, but it just looks very chocolatey brown and nice. And this is the yarn I showed you before, but I got this yarn from Garnudsalg, and it's how much? 20%, 80% wool and 20% recycled plastic materials, and the yarn also is recycled, so it's like a recycled yarn. Thinking weight, I'm not knitting the exact number that is in the pattern, because I discovered that it just doesn't work for me. I haven't checked my gauge, but I'm just trying it on my partner. That's in the end what matters. And so I'm pulling from 2 balls, I'm holding 2 strands together, and I have a 3rd ball for, I used 3 balls last time as well. So I'm just working on that when I'm really tired in the evening and just want to knit a few rounds before going to bed, and it's just round and round. I'm also knitting on a design that I want to show you, because sometimes it's really boring when I can never show any designs. So some designs I will show you. This is also yarn I got from Garnudsalg, which is a Danish website, and it is an organic merino, and it is a little bit. So I had to empty my card, and I'm back to talk about this yarn. I was saying it's it's an organic merino from Garnudsalg. It's they kind of have it as a dyeing yarn for dyeing. So it's unspun. It's not unspun. It's a 1-ply. And I've been working on a blanket, which I don't know if that's crazy or what, but actually I thought about it, because the amount of stitches is the same as I would cast on for a sweater. So I don't think it's so crazy. And I'm knitting it on what size needle? Size 6 millimeters, US 10. Knitting it on my Lykke, which are the short ones. And actually these ones are particularly nice, because look, they are two shades. They are the driftwood. Yeah, I just really like that little detail. So let me show you the blanket so far. Here we go. So as you can see, it has some details. Sorry, so I have to kind of hide myself. It has some details with the garter stitch, and it has a little fringe, which was a lot of fun to make. I actually tried out many different methods to get the fringe as I wanted. Has some bubbles. Yeah, so it's a work in progress, and it will be a pattern at some point. I don't really know when. And I'm not sure I have enough yarn, so I have to kind of check if I have to order some more. It was quite cheap, and it was a bit discounted. The yarn, again, because it's yarn was in the to dye section. So I think it's sometimes good if you want just a neutral yarn to look in the section for dyeing. And yeah, it's actually really nice knit, and this is the most soft yarn I've knit with in a long time, and I normally don't knit with these soft merinos. I mean, I knit the shawl also in this kind of yarn, but it's been a while since I knit that one, and it's just really nice to have this as a change, because when I'm knitting on the Oslo Hat, by the way, it's by Petite Knits, I didn't say. When I'm knitting on the Oslo Hat, I'm knitting it on a quite a tight gauge with double 2 strands and everything. Sorry, and these are on 3.5mm needles, and it's just a little more, it's a harder tension, and the work is a little bit harder on the hand, so it's nice to change between projects. I talked about this before. I like to have different size projects. I'm also still working on my socks in the woolen twine Maroon Bright Christmas colorway. I didn't bring them because not much has happened, and it's just the same. Yeah, and coming up for the next, I have quite a few patterns to grade right now, and that's also why I'm a bit stressed, because I have the patterns ready and they need grading, and one of them is a contiguous shoulder method, which I haven't done before, and I'm just a little bit desperate. I really wish sometimes I knew someone who like to just ask, like when you're sitting together with someone and talk. For example, if I have some problems with general things, I call my dad or my mom and I ask, and can sit down and talk about it. But when I'm trying to design something that I've never done before, and maybe it's not so complicated, but when you're just in your own head all the time, it feels very complicated. So I am trying to get that design ready. I have some other things that are in the list waiting, just already samples knit, they just need to be graded, and I don't have much time right now. One of the items I will show you is this one. I won it before, which is a T design. Oh, the sleeve is popped in. That I knit up last summer, I think, in a linen cotton yarn from BC Garn, which is a Danish yarn brand. And it's a very special, I don't know the gauge, because when I look at it, for me, this looks like a fingering weight yarn. But it says DK when I go into the Ravelry page, and also it's a DK length. But it doesn't really, I knit it up on 3mm needles, so. Anyways, this one is, I'm gonna make a call for testers later today, I think, or in the weekend. And I managed to grade this one. It's really easy to grade, and I'm gonna have it up in many sizes, and I'm also gonna do a different version than this one, which has a button placket, like a cardigan version. This one I want to make a simple, like just a simple tee version, so there will be different options. So I'm gonna try to test it at the same time as my testers, which is gonna be fun. And yeah, I hope to have this one out for the spring before it gets too hot, so people can actually knit it for summer. So I'm just really busy trying to get patterns ready, and I'm sure I will get comments like, I hope I'm recording. Yeah, I think I'm recording. It's because I removed all the info from the screen. If you press the info button, sometimes you can kind of remove the info, and I just look and there's no info, and I got really nervous. It's recording, okay, no problems. Yeah, I am. So that's gonna be a test happening now. I hope to get my other design ready. I know I talk about I don't know. It's really annoying, and I know I mentioned this so much, but talking about designs I cannot show you. I don't want to show you right now, and yeah, but it's what I'm working on. It's what I'm knitting. But I showed you some things today, so I feel like that's good. And yeah, I placed an order from Knitting for Olive because I just really love their colors, and it's on its way. I wanted to show you in this podcast, but it's not gonna arrive before the weekend. I don't think so with the Danish postal system. So I have ordered some cotton merino for the t-shirt design, and I have ordered some blow. They have this double merino, they call it, which is a blow yarn, and I never worked with this kind of yarn before, so I'm a little excited. I have a little design in mind. I can say so much that it's a children design, which I haven't done much. I keep thinking I want to make children designs, but for some reason I'm just not. I guess we all have things that excite us more than others, and I don't know what it is with children design. It just never really, just never happens for me. I knit stuff for my children, but I never really get so much in. I don't know. I'm gonna try this time to make a little child design. So that's all for today. I think I have talked about everything. I will go and pack some more orders because I have to get some out today and edit this later tonight, so probably it's not going to be out before the weekend. It takes a long time to export from after I edit it, so just have to be a bit patient. I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye.